to the channel and welcome to this live stream. So glad you are all here to join me, and I hope that you enjoy this conversation today. As a matter of fact, I know that you'll enjoy this conversation. When you get into the chat, when you come into the live stream, make sure you go ahead and comment down below where you're from, and also comment down below how long you've been either a subscriber of the channel or how long have you been watching. So there you go. Comment down below how long you've been a subscriber or how long you've been watching. So in today's live stream, we're going to talk about attachment styles. We're going to talk about conflict resolution. We're going to talk about differences with different people that you love, family members, friends, and how to sort out those differences, and talk about a little bit of forgiveness, emotional intelligence, etc. So we can learn how to resolve our conflicts and move on from certain situations, knowing how to let certain situations or certain relationships go, and learning how to move forward with certain relationships or friendships, etc., with more confidence in being able to speak your mind but still hear the other side out, because we all want to resolve conflict, right? This is something that a lot of us can work on even more. Excellent topic. Keep up the great work. Thank you. I will. I'm glad you enjoyed this topic. Simply put, conflict resolution is having the what's that word? Patience, understanding, and speaking in order to, or hearing in order to listen, instead of hearing to just reply to somebody in order to resolve your conflicts. So before we get into this live stream, again, if you're coming to the live stream, comment down below where you're from and how long you've been watching the channel. Also, give this live stream a thumbs up if you're enjoying it, if so far. And then also, if you're on the replay, type replay in the chat. Let's get into it. So why should you listen to me? And what's my experience? Well, my experience is I have a background in teaching meditation, teaching yoga, but I guess I have a lot of experience in conflict resolution in the workplace, among family members, among friends, and in my days of coaching, teaching, emotional intelligence. A lot of our, or I would say a lot, like more than most of our problems are interpersonal relationship problems. Even our self-doubt problems, even our fears. At the core of it, our self-doubt is because we're comparing our life to other people's lives. And then our fears are because we're fearful of either our own abilities or we're fearful of what other people may think of our abilities. So at the core of a lot of our problems, they are dealing highly around interpersonal relationships and how we communicate with other people and how we resolve conflict. So I've had a lot of experience in that thus far, and I'm looking forward to getting more experience as we go into this conversation. So first off, we're going to go through a couple of things. Oh yeah, also look in the chat because I have put a link to my quiz. It's called How Meditated Are You? Because it will be a quiz that will show you, depending on your habits currently and your experience with mindfulness and meditation, show you if you are recommended to have guidance in your meditation practice or your mindfulness practice, or where you should start. So go ahead and take that quiz. It's linked or pinned in the comment. Here are a couple of reasons why you might have, here are some reasons why you might have conflict with the people who you love. The first reason is unmet childhood needs. This is more common than not, I feel like, because what happens in childhood sets us up for the rest of our lives, honestly. And sometimes you can spend literally the rest of your life healing from childhood wounds, like literally the rest of your life. Another reason you might have conflict is because of past trauma. That could come from childhood wounds, or that could simply be trauma in the past, any time in the past. Unconscious belief systems. I have my notes. That's what I'm looking at. Unconscious belief systems is like, what are you thinking about in the back of your mind that you don't know that you're thinking about, which is difficult until you get to journal it out or write it out or really explain to somebody why you're so emotional about a certain topic. When you feel stuck or when you feel like you're reacting in a way that you don't know why you're reacting that way, that means that there's a lot happening in the subconscious mind that you're not aware of. That's why you're stuck. That's why you don't know how to move past it, because you're not aware of the thoughts that are causing you to be stuck. And in every situation, the only thing that's in front of our way of healing is ourselves. We're the only person in our way, and we're in our own way. Yes, there are obstacles in life, but those obstacles are perceived as things that we have to stop at, or sometimes we perceive obstacles in life as mandatory halts in our growth and healing journey. And because healing is hard, a lot of us are so comfortable in brokenness. A lot of us are so comfortable in fear that the fear of changing is greater than the fear of staying the same. But until the fear of staying the same is greater than the fear of change, we'll always be the same. It has to hurt us more that we have been stuck for so long. It has to hurt us more to be stuck than it hurts us to want to be unstuck in order for us to get unstuck. You know how like you'll search so long for the how? Like, how do I do this? How do I heal? How do I forgive this person? How do I let this person back in? How do I resolve this conflict with my family members or my friends? And we'll search for the how so much that we ignore the why, and we ignore the doing of that thing. Because most of us already know how to do it. The problem is not that we don't know how to do it, or we don't have the knowledge on how to do it, or how to heal, or how to forgive somebody, or how to resolve conflict. The problem is that we are resistant to actually putting in the work, in the effort to do it, because we know that putting in the work is hard, and it will face us to have to confront some things that are difficult for us to confront. And then also that change will force us to grow, and growth always hurts a little bit. If not a lot, always just a little bit. And a lot of us would rather just be comfortable in unforgiveness, comfortable in harboring unforgiveness, comfortable in not healing. A lot of us are just comfortable there because we know subconsciously if we grow, then that's a whole other level that mentally we don't think we're ready for. Yes, absolutely. Comparison by way of ego telling you what you should be and where you should be in life. Exactly. And I just want to stop here and say that in about an hour, I'll be doing a guided meditation on my YouTube channel. Not on my YouTube channel, on my Patreon. So if you want to meditate with me every week, in the Patreon, we do guided meditation. So I'll drop the link in the chat for that. If you'd like to join the Patreon and meditate with me every single week, it's $17 for the rest of the month. For the rest of the month, it's $17 to join, and then it's going to go up about $10 more because Yeah, we get one-on-one time. Not one-on-one time, but we're in the group. It's a focus group. We drop some knowledge in there. We have some conversations. So we've already had a bunch of good conversations in the group already. Because we have a couple good members in there from the YouTube channel. So shout out to y'all. Y'all get a shout out in Friday's video. But yeah, another reason why you might be having conflict with other people is because stirring up conflict is sort of like a defense mechanism for some of us. It's our default. So let me know if y'all have read this book in the comments. It's called the Courage to be Disliked. It's called The Courage to be Disliked. I'm listening to the audiobook right now. And the audiobook, or the book in general, is about a young boy who engages in conversation with this philosopher. And the young boy's whole mindset about life is that if you're born into a happy environment with good money in your family and with wealth and with success, that's how you'll always be, and you can't change that. Whereas if you are born into poverty, if you're born into negativity, and you just have bad luck in life, that's just how it is for you, and nothing can change it. The whole book is about how the philosopher and the young boy are having a conversation, and the philosopher is explaining every single thing that we go through and how we are in our own way of getting over everything that we're afraid of happening. So, defense mechanisms or roadblocks we often create for ourselves are excuses for not growing or not healing or not forgiving or not fill in the blank. But we often make up excuses in our lives to keep us stuck, basically to sabotage ourselves and sabotage our future. And that is the reason why a lot of us feel stuck, because we've learned how to keep ourselves stuck. So for example, in the book, The Courage to be Disliked, the boy says to the philosopher, he says, I have a friend, and my friend is basically a hermit. There was something that happened to him during childhood, and he had a lot of trauma. And now he has social anxiety because he was bullied in school. He has social anxiety, and every time he tries to go out, his body response is that he just naturally has a panic attack and he starts shaking uncontrollably. So he stays home. And the boy was like, my friend wants to change so bad, but he can't. How do you explain that? The philosopher says your friend's response of getting anxious or having an anxiety attack when going outside is a natural response to being anxious. But just because your friend has that response or being anxious is a excuse for not going out. Because basically, now your goal becomes, I want to avoid social interaction because I have social anxiety. So you create a goal because you have a natural body response of being anxious around crowds. Your goal now becomes, I want to avoid crowds at all costs so that I can suppress my reaction of my body to get anxious. But if you want to change, you have to change your goal. I hope that makes sense. So basically the philosopher is saying, yes, anxiousness happens, like anxiety happens. But if your goal is actually to change the way that you are, you want to create another goal for yourself, another possibility that it is possible for you to go out. And in order to change your body's response, your goal can't be to stay in the house all day. That can't be what you want. Because subconsciously, if you want to avoid crowds, you have to, or if you don't want to avoid crowds, then your goal, you want to make your goal to get on the phone with 1 or 2 friends and check in on them on the phone or in person. But you want to change the outcome or your desired outcome or your desired vision of where you see yourself. Here's another example. The boy is in a coffee shop. The waitress comes to deliver his coffee and accidentally trips and spills his coffee all over him. So the boy says, I just flipped my top. He said, I just yelled and that was uncontrollable. How do you explain that? The philosopher says, well, yes, you can feel angry. Emotions are natural, but you didn't have to respond with yelling. Yelling is just the communication style you chose because you felt like if you just communicated calmly that you didn't like that she spilled your coffee, your point wouldn't get across. So in order for the boy to feel like his point got across, that he was upset that the waitress spilled his coffee, he decided to yell, and he used being angry as an excuse for his behavior. So his goal, again, going back to change your goal, his goal was to yell, even though he felt like that was a natural response. If his goal would have been to calmly express his frustration, he could have easily gotten his point across without the response of yelling. So, one of the first things to conflict resolution is to change how you approach your communication. Hi, Sora. Hey, everyone. One of the first things is change your mode of communication, because sometimes we have automatic responses that we feel like are, like I said, automatic, that because we feel like they're automatic and we can't change them, we use that as a roadblock or an excuse to continue to communicate poorly, because we may not feel seen or heard if we communicate it calmly. So we feel like we have to yell. We feel like we have to lash out at the person. But because yelling is kind of violent, honestly, all people can feel when you yell at them is violence or maybe fear or maybe hurt or maybe pain. But it actually is more confusing lashing out for both parties than using a softer voice, softer tone. Because in yelling, your point is less clear. So you do the opposite of what you wanted to accomplish by yelling. Like, most people yell because they think that if they talk in a regular voice, they won't be heard. But you're actually heard less when you yell than if you talk calmly. Because when you yell, all people can think of is, oh my gosh, I'm being yelled at. I'm going to retaliate with some more violent action, because most people, they mirror exactly what they're seeing. Babies, they mirror exactly what they see. Everything that kids do is learned behavior. So we naturally, and grown-ups are just babies with an older body, honestly, and full-time jobs. So if you're expecting to be heard, but the only way you know how to be heard is to yell or to lash out, and you're using your emotions of being angry or being upset or being frustrated as an excuse to yell, change how you view your excuses. Remove that excuse out of the equation. Because somebody could just as easily say, I was frustrated at somebody because they spilled hot coffee on me, so I stabbed them. Right? That's violent, right? But someone can just as easily say they're stabbing someone else or violently harming someone else was a automatic response from their emotion. And even though it seems more violent, it's the same concept. There's a point in time where we choose our reaction to our emotions. And in that split second, your brain has to choose whether you're going to lash out calmly or whether you're going to be frustrated, cuss somebody out, or yell, or stab somebody. I hope you don't think about stabbing anybody. But there's a split second. And in order to start changing that automatic, or how you feel like it's an automatic reaction to your emotions getting hurt or your feelings getting hurt, we need to change how we view the end goal, which is to be heard, to be felt, to be seen, to be understood. But we can achieve that goal in a different way. Here are some strategic approaches to resolving conflicts. And let me know in the comments down below, again, if you're just coming in, hey, what's up? Say hey in the chat. We're just talking about different ways that you can start to resolve conflict. And I want to also comment down the chat how long you've been watching the channel and what's your favorite video. Like, what's your favorite thing that you've learned from the channel? Actually, that's a good question to ask. I also want to bring your attention to the chat because I am doing a guided meditation on the Patreon, like right after this live stream in about 30 minutes. And during the live stream, during the guided meditation, we're going to do a mindfulness meditation for stress relief and anxiety, because we're here to normalize meditation and mindfulness in communities of color, underrepresented communities, in the Black community specifically. And then I'll also teach something new every single week that we meditate. The Patreon to get the guided meditation is $17 a month, but it's $17 a month until the end of the month, and then it's going to raise. So once you get a chance, go ahead and visit that link in the chat. I'll go ahead and put it in the chat if you didn't see it. There's the Patreon link. Boom. So I wanted to go back to some of the reasons why we have conflict resolution. One of the reasons is unmet childhood needs. Another reason is past trauma. Another one is attachment styles. And I want to go over attachment styles. Comment down below in the chat what you think your attachment style is. So let me go through these attachment styles right quick. And I want to see the comments too. I'm gonna wait until y'all comment. Comment down below, do you know your attachment style? There's secure attachment, there's anxious attachment, there's avoidant attachment, and then there's fearful attachment. What's your attachment style? I want to know from you all before I start going over the attachment styles here, because this is super important for conflict resolution, forgiveness, healing, So we got secure attachment. We've got anxious attachment, we have avoidant attachment, and we have fearful attachment. So which one are you? Comment down below. Because I'm right here looking at the attachment styles. And there's also a quiz that you can take for it too. So again, this is one of the reasons why we have conflict, right? Y'all a little bit quiet in the chat today. This is one of the reasons, it's okay though. This is one of the reasons that a lot of people have conflict, because of the attachment style that we have. Let's go over some of them. Secure attachment. That's probably the most healthy one because it sounds secure, right? Secure attachment. It is low avoidance. So you're not really avoiding conversations. You're not trying to beat around the bush with telling other people how you feel. You don't withhold your feelings. And also it's low anxiety, right? So it's low avoidance, low anxiety. That's secure attachment. And then there's anxious attachment. That means you are very involved physically in the attachment, whether it's the relationship or the friendship, that might you might characterize yourself as needing to be with somebody all the time, right? And it's also high anxiety attachment style. So if you feel like if you're not with a person, and this is very huge in relationships, if you feel like when you're not with a person, you have high anxiety and you don't avoid them, like you stick by their side, you're glued to their hip, you may feel like you're not able to give somebody their personal space, right? You have an anxious attachment style. Fearful attachment style is high anxiety and high avoidance. So this one is really tricky. I feel like a lot of narcissistic people have fearful attachment style because it's high anxiety. So you're very anxious about, oh my gosh, are they gonna leave me? Oh my gosh, are they gonna ghost me? Etc. But also you avoid interacting with them. How many people know people like this? So, for example, if you've ever known somebody, if you've ever been in a relationship with somebody who likes to play hard to get or whatever, and they might text you one day and they might be like really, really into you, maybe even love bombing you, and it seems like they're really, really into you one day, right? You're talking to them, you're dating them even, and then you don't hear from them for a week because when you pull forward, they pull back. Because they may try really, really really hard to be in your space for a little while, right? And this also could be friendships or relationships. They try really hard to be in your space. And some days they go all in, but they're anxious. So they're also anxious of rejection or conflict. So then for a while they pull away. Once you pull closer, they pull away. That's fearful attachment style. And then there's avoidant attachment style, which means you're very just like you don't care. Like you don't care. Very disinterested in the interaction, in the relationship, etc. So again, let me know in the comments what your attachment style is, or do you know your attachment style just from me reading those? I'll go first. I think my attachment style I can identify most. I think I can identify most with honestly with secure attachment, but also borderline sometimes fearful attachment as well. So that's something interesting to look at. Look at your attachment style. Here are some strategic approaches to eliminating conflict. One of the first ones is active listening. So this means that when you're engaged in a conversation, how much do you listen, not only to reply to that what that person's saying, but you actually listen or hear that person out. By the way, if you're enjoying this live stream, go ahead and give it a thumbs up so other people can see it. Hey, Curse WYD, what's up? So active listening just means when you're listening to somebody, you're literally, once they finish talking to you, once they finish telling you what they telling you, you could literally play back everything that they just told you because you were actively listening. Actively listening does not include when they're talking, say, oh my gosh, me too. That happened to me too. Oh my gosh, really? Like it's not reacting to what they're saying. That's actually works against active listening because you are imparting your opinion still in whatever they're saying when your opinion or experience is completely unattached to their experience or what they're saying. And it's difficult to do. It's difficult not to do that actually, because a lot of the times we think that that's how other people want us to communicate. Like when we listen to other people's comments or stories, we think that they benefit off of us saying, "Oh my gosh, me too. That happened to me too. I can totally relate. I can sympathize. Not only sympathize, I empathize with you, etc." But it's actually not that active of listening, because if you're not able to recall every single detail that they told you, there was some part in there that you weren't actively listening to them. You were just seeing how you relate to what they're saying and not just taking what they're saying and actively listening. So another thing that you can use is effective communication. This means don't beat around the bush. Say what you mean, and say it with your chest. Say it with your chest. Did I hear a fart? No, you didn't hear a fart. It was probably my chair. My chair is a little bit squeaky, but nah, you didn't hear a fart. I don't know if you heard a fart from your end, but it's probably my chair here. It's kind of squeaky. So when I go up and down, that's my chair. Effective communication. Clearly articulate your thoughts. Don't beat around the bush. Say what you mean. And the more that you withhold what you really mean, you might make it more difficult to be understood and to understand the other person. Because if you're really withholding what you think on the inside, it's going to come out in another way that blows up even more. You know how like you withhold certain information or you withhold certain feelings for so long, and after withholding them, and the reason why you withhold them might be because you don't want somebody to think a certain thing about you, or you don't want them to perceive you in a different light, or you don't want them to take what you say out of context, or you want to protect their feelings, etc. Protecting someone else's feelings is also telling them the truth. Protecting someone's feelings is telling them the truth, the whole truth, and not beating around the bush. You know the difference between being nice and being kind? Being nice is trying to spare somebody's feelings. Being nice is seeing that somebody got a booger in your nose, but you don't tell them because you're trying to be nice. You're not trying to mess up their feelings. But being kind is actually telling them, hey, here's a tissue. You leave them with their dignity intact, but you still tell the truth. Like, don't beat around the bush. Don't try to spare nobody's feelings, because on the path of sparing somebody's feelings, you're going to hurt your own. And you can't spare anybody's feelings if you're putting your own feelings at risk. It don't even work like that, because you're always a mirror of other people. So if you're not being truthful, if you're not putting everything on the table with people's dignity intact, y'all, I'm not saying like go out and offend people, but you want to tell it like it is and say it with your whole chest. Because the more that you say it with your whole chest, you're going to feel more confident in future conflict resolution situations. And then you're also going to feel more confident when it's time to forgive, when it's time to either let other people go, when it's time to gracefully bow out of a relationship, of a friendship, of an interaction, of a familyship. If it's time to hold somebody at arm's length, you're going to leave more with your dignity intact because you put everything on the table. And you did it with kindness and with grace, not niceness, but kindness, which is super important. So effective communication, that's what effective communication is. And if you start to release judgment from yourself, you'll judge other people less. So start to become more aware of your self-talk, because a lot of us, everybody is the worst critic of themselves. But a lot of us have such negative self-talk that with every sentence that we tell ourselves, we're judging ourselves. So if you say things like, man, if you say shoulda, coulda, woulda talk, that's judgment talk. Like if you're saying to yourself, and every time I say this to my friend, my family member, my spouse, whoever, that makes me look like such a bad family member. That makes me look like such a bad friend. I'm such a bad, I should have done that. I should have done this. That's judgment. As soon as you use shoulda, coulda, woulda language, you're judging yourself. You're also, every time you say that makes me look like fill in the blank, that's judgment. The judgment that you cast on yourself, it will reflect upon other people. Release all of that first. Loving someone is telling them the unadulterated truth, even if it hurts. For sure. And don't even, try not to even anticipate that it's going to hurt. Because most of the time, the truth doesn't hurt as much as the lie that you keep telling over and over and over again. Telling the truth only hurts one time because you only have to do it once. Telling a lie is ongoing, y'all. Like withholding information is ongoing. That's going to hurt more and more and more and more. Telling the truth only hurts one time. The one time you have to tell it, because you only have to tell it one time. Telling a lie, you have to keep that going. Or beating around the bush, you have to keep that going. You have to put more effort in. That's why we literally make it harder for ourselves. We make ourselves work harder when we deny ourselves from our own freedom of speech. That's why we in our own way. There's nobody else in your way of growing, of changing, but yourself. You're in your own way. Say it with your chest. It'll put some hair on theirs. For real. All right. Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I'll be on here for about 10 more minutes because, like I said, right after this live stream, in about 20 minutes, I'm going to be hosting my guided meditation, my weekly guided meditation that I do every single week, every single Wednesday on the Patreon. If you want to join the guided meditation, go ahead and click this link right here. I just put it in the chat to join the Patreon, and you do have to opt into the paid membership. It is paid for $17 a month, but if you go get coffee at Starbucks more than 2 times a week, you're paying that more than that for, a month worth of meditation. So, and it's weekly, so we do it every single week. If you want to hop on some more and learn some more about mindfulness meditation, how you can start to relieve your anxiety day to day today, feel better, have better communication with other people, feel more stress free, and master your mindset, then we have a lot of conversations in the Patreon as well. I also have a podcast, an extra podcast in there that explains how to be more mindful in your day-to-day life. So go ahead and click on that too if you want to join me right after this live stream. Georgia Boy Low says, that is so true. I never thought about it that way. Yes, it's so true. Telling a lie or little white lie, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger because you have to tell it over and over again because you have to keep the story going. Or even withholding information because you have to keep the story going for yourself, or you have to keep on convincing yourself every single time that it's not as bad as you think it is. Have you ever had to keep convincing yourself, like keep reasoning with yourself or keep reasoning yourself out of telling somebody something? Because you're trying to maintain the sparing everybody's feelings. What is that for? Sparing anybody's feelings isn't doing anything. You're only going to hurt their feelings once, but you're going to hurt your own feelings 1,000,000 times if you keep doing that. Hey, how are you feeling today? I'm feeling good. How are you, Rebecca? You look good pretty late. Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, so let me go ahead and wrap up these points. So right now we're talking about conflict resolution and ways that you can resolve conflicts Most of all, what I'm saying is this is how you squash the beef. This is how you squash the beef. Because I broke my foot today. I'm so sorry to hear that. I'm praying you for a speedy recovery and a mindful recovery. This is how we squash beef, y'all. We beef squashers. We ain't got, if somebody thinks that they got beef with you, that's it. They got beef with you. You don't got beef with them, because we don't have beef with people. You know what I'm saying? Whatever beef that somebody feels like they have with you right now, it's an illusion, because you don't have beef with them. We're going to forgive today. And forgiving doesn't mean let them back into your world. Forgiveness is only for you, because you can forgive somebody and never tell them that you forgive them. I've forgiven plenty of people who I cut off. I've literally cut people off. I've forgiven them from afar. I've forgiven them in spirit, in spirit and in truth. I had to forgive them from afar because I could not forgive them and let them back into our friendship, back into our relationship. Because forgiveness is only for you. It's not for anybody else. It frees you up. It frees up your heart space. It frees up your mind. And it squashes any harboring of negativity that you have against somebody. Life is too short to be holding on to stuff for years. Let it go. No one is your enemy. If you have a problem with somebody, it's not you versus them. It's you and them versus the problem. That's the problem. If you feel like you have beef with somebody, if you have a problem with somebody, it's not that you have a problem with them. It's that it's you and them versus the problem at hand. It's never that you have beef with anybody. So beef is an illusion. That's my case. Beef is not real. Beef is not real. Beef is an illusion. All right, let's talk about conflict resolution techniques. And also earlier we did talk about, it's getting dark. It's getting dark around here. I should have brought my ring light. But earlier we did talk about the attachment styles. So go back and look at the attachment styles and actually comment in the comments what you think your attachment style might be and how you think it might have affected your relationships, your interactions with other people, your ability to heal from hurt when somebody hurts you, how to heal from conflict, etc. Let me know. Yes, forgiveness doesn't have to come with reconciliation. Release them from your soul. Yes, release them from your soul. It's baggage holding on to unforgiveness. It's baggage holding grudges. So the way that you release a grudge from someone is that you change your outlook on your conflict with them. And that's exactly what I just said is exactly the mindset shift that you need to make in order to heal from that. That mindset shift is to switch from seeing it this way. You have a problem with them, or they have a problem with you, or you have a conflict with them. They have beef with you. It's not that. It's that there's a problem in between the two of you that you both, as a team, need to get together and work out. But the problem is the conflict. The conflict is not you versus me. It's you and me versus the problem. The difficulty in resolving conflict comes when you're open to teaming up with the person who you have conflict with in order to resolve the conflict. Like, you're open-hearted, you're open-minded, right? And I know this is a lot of you. So how many times has it been that, like, you're open-hearted, you're open-minded, you're willing to reach out, you're willing to communicate more clearly, you're willing to reconcile your differences with somebody, but their heart is not that open yet. And it takes two people. If that's the only people who are involved, it takes both parties to be willing to resolve it together in order for it to be resolved. The difficulty comes when both people are not on one accord. And so it's up to you after trying for a certain amount of time to change your viewpoint, to open up your heart space, to open up your mind space, to let them have a chance for reconciliation with you. Doesn't matter who was in the wrong. Things happen. But if both parties aren't open and willing to work together, it's probably not going to be resolved. And that's where we need to exercise forgiveness from a distance. That's where we have to exercise either holding that person at arm's length or whatever length they chose to hold you at, and resolving your conflict from afar by realizing that the conflict or the you versus me thing is an illusion. And the only conflict there is y'all versus the problem. And to let go any animosity you have from them. That's the way that you heal from afar. That's the way that you forgive from afar. That's the way that you make up with someone from afar. You literally make up with them. Don't tell them that you made up with them. Forgive them and then start praying. That's it. Just start praying for them from afar. Start wishing them well from afar. Maybe even write a letter to them. Write a couple letters to them. Journal about them. Write a couple letters to them as if whatever you didn't get a chance to say, you say it in the letter. Write it out. Because writing is really important because it allows your subconscious mind to expel and just throw up everything that you needed to in order for you to feel secure in your mind. And honestly, by you forgiving whoever has hurt you or whoever you have a conflict with, that forgiveness or that just releasing them can open things up more for them to come around if it ever happens. Not saying that it's guaranteed to happen, but a lot of the times people haven't come around because our attitude ain't right. Because again, they might be mirroring stuff that we're doing. Our mind isn't right. Our attitude isn't right. We're not willing to forgive. We're holding a grudge. And we're putting all the responsibility on someone else to make us feel better about the situation, about the conflict, about resolving things. So if you feel like you have a lack of responsibility in taking this on, you may need to look at resolving conflict that way. So those were my conflict resolution techniques. Again, if you're here on the live stream, I appreciate you for hanging out with me tonight. Give it a thumbs up so other people can find it, because this live stream is packed with tons of awesome information. I'm probably going to take a couple clips out of here and make it into a YouTube short because I love doing that. And it's really helpful for all the mindfulness community. Hey, by the way, look in the pinned comment. There's a quiz titled How Meditated Are You? It's a meditation quiz to take, testing your readiness, your meditation readiness, I guess, and ask you questions like, how often are you mindful? How often are you doing mindfulness activities like journaling, meditation, yoga, etc.? Your anxiety and stress levels, and it'll give you a score based upon that. I also am gonna hop off this live stream in about 1 or 2 minutes to hop on to the Patreon, where I'll be hosting my weekly guided meditations. If you want to join me, go ahead and click the link that I'll send right now in the chat. It is $17 a month Patreon, but you probably spend more than that at Starbucks in a week. So go ahead and join me there. Thank you all for your support, love, and comments. Does anybody have any last questions? I guess I could probably take 1 or 2 questions. I love a woman with locks. Well, that's amazing. I love women and men with locks too. If you have any questions, throw them in the chat before I hop off this thing and into the Patreon. Also, stay tuned. I have a video coming on Friday. If you haven't watched the most recent videos, one of the greatest things God has ever put on land, women. I agree. That's a word. That's a word right there. Women make the world go rounds. And then men help too, procreate. So, well, y'all, this has been a great chat. Again, give it a thumbs up. Check out the link in the pinned comment. And also, if you're on the replay, type replay in the chat, because I love to see when you all watch the playback after it's recorded. So thanks so much for that. I'm gonna go ahead and hop off. You all make sure that you drink your water, stay hydrated, and stay meditated. Ooh, stay hydrated, stay meditated. I'm gonna put that on a shirt. All right, I just got a Zoom notification of my meditation in 5 minutes. Bless you too. Peace. Again, if you want to join me and all the other Patreon members on the guided meditation, will be going on in 5 minutes. So I'm going to go ahead and start that. Otherwise, y'all, peace.